Hey everyone, welcome back to batbreak.com. Again, I am Nick, joined with Dan Cleary and Steve Masi to my left. We're going to hit on the topic of photo matching, why it has become so important in today's hobby and amongst collectors, what it really means, the premium it could add to the value of these bats, how to go about looking for a photo match, and again, why it's so important. So, guys, tell us a little bit about your experience in photo matching, if it's something that you spend time on, something you value. Steve, I know you're more of a vintage guy, so you're talking real needle in the haystack and big time dollars if you find something.
Yeah, and listen, I've spent many evenings at the
Yeah.
computer, bleary-eyed, looking at old black and white photos.
Right.
And with some of my modern stuff too, it's kind of the thrill of the hunt because when you
Oh,
do
yeah.
find it, it's thrilling. Again, I think we've mentioned before, modern day photography has made our lives a lot easier with that stuff.
Mhm.
Super high def, you can see the tiniest of marks on the bats. And there's some bats when you see, and you're like, oh, this one should be easy to photo match. And the others, you're like, oh, this is going to be tough.
Right.
The flame tempered Louisville Sluggers, really nice fingerprint,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Now you got these guys using these lizard skin tape, even better fingerprint.
Mhm.
Matching up Mike Trout bats with all the lizard
Right.
skin. It's gotten a lot easier. It's fun, but it can be. I've gone back to the well on bats too. Like, I remember I tried the photo matches last year. I'm going to go back to it and dig again.
Mhm.
I've done it before looking for the wrong season. Like I was
Right.
looking for,
Oh, yeah.
I had a David Ortiz bat that I thought was a 2009, could never match it. And then for some reason, I went back a little further and I matched it to the 2008 playoffs.
Oh, nice.
I was
There
like,
you
oh,
go.
and I almost sold it at one point too.
Yeah.
And
So what
learned my lesson.
qualifies, just to back up a bit, as a photo match? And what's the universal thoughts on, okay, this is a no doubt photo
I mean,
match?
it's got to be a no doubt. I've
Yes.
seen a lot of people on the internet I think this might be a match. If you think it might be a match, it probably isn't. Like, it's got to be undeniable. Wow, this is it. This ball mark or these grain marks.
Right.
Listen, it's great when the grain marks line up because
Right.
that's.
But depending on era, there are older bats, there might be some gray area. I mean, it's not going to, if you can't definitively say, there's still a chance it's the same bat. You just can't,
You
if
can't.
you had to sell that bat at some
You
point.
can't say it's absolutely photo
Right.
matched. Again, it goes back to the more modern the photography, the easy.
Right.
Although the easier it is. Although you see some great vintage photo match stuff that people have to spend hours and days and months digging through photos to find.
I've always found it helpful to reach out to guys like you, where if I'm not sure, I'll send it to someone who I trust, who is impartial,
Right.
and say,
Yeah.
does this line up to you? Do I want it
Oh,
to
of
fit, or
course.
is this legit?
Yeah, and you got to ask the right people because I
Yeah.
think some people don't.
They don't
If
want
it's
you
not
to have
their
something.
bat. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't want it to
It's
be a
not a
photo
match, but I'll buy it from you if you
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
Right. Well, and like Steve said, these white ash bats with the flame treated grain, that grain is the fingerprint on the
Oh,
bat,
yeah.
right? No two grains are
Nope.
exactly the same. But when you're looking at it, the face of one of these bats, the grain on the front end of the barrel might look almost identical to other cuts of wood,
for
but
sure.
on the back end, it's totally different.
Mhm.
So I think when John Talby or some of these guys are identifying a bat as a photo match, they want to look at least 3 identifying points.
Yeah, for
at
sure.
minimum
Yeah,
on the bat has to line up.
They're going to be 100% sure before they go. This is a photo match.
Right. And what about the value? I mean, you do find a photo match. Let's say it's a bat you purchased pre-photo match. What does that do to the value of the bat?
I guess it depends on the player, but for me, it just makes me feel confident that I trust it more than the MLB holograms. The holograms
Oh, of
are
course.
Yeah.
probably 90 to 95% accurate, but with a good photo match, it's just completely indisputable.
Well, it's undeniable. Like
Yeah.
this is the bat. Here he is holding it, using it. It removes all doubt, which
Mhm.
is obviously going to carry a premium.
Right. If you could place that bat in the player's hands, you could have the most spot-on bat of a player, again, graded a 10. But again, a photo match trumps everything as far as
agreed.
just relieving
Agreed.
any questions regarding the bat. Now, as far as modern bats, current players, it's almost expected now with every game
Seems to
on
be,
MLB
yeah.
TV that I would not buy a Mike Trout bat if it wasn't photo matched. I mean, personally, Mookie Betts, any of these guys, at this point, there's so much available in the way of still photos and
And
footage.
they're photographed so much.
Well,
Right.
for star players, you'd be hard pressed for them to have an at bat that isn't photographed by a professional photographer.
And everything's
Right.
on video now. For the
Yeah.
last 10,
Yeah.
15
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
you can
Right.
find video on everybody.
Right. But the pre, and again, we've harped on this a few times, but the pre-internet days, the pre-MLB TV games when everything was streamed live on online, it was really tough to find a photo match. And we could touch on some of the resources we go to, I think primarily being Getty Images.
Getty's a big one.
Is a great source of photographs. But you could go through to a 1994 Barry Bonds pirate. You type in Barry Bonds 1994. So
8
pinpoint
pictures.
it. Yeah, there's 8 pictures.
Yep.
4 of them he's
Yeah.
in the outfield. 2 he's taking BP.
Right.
And there's 1 at bat.
Yeah,
You know?
try punching in Rod Crew, 1973 to
Oh,
75.
and it's him
Yeah.
in the dugout,
Yeah,
like 1
yeah.
picture.
Yep.
But there's ways to narrow your window too, which is nice, especially on modern guys, which is what I like is, you can find on the knob, it tells you the date that the bat was made.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
So you know it's not going to be before then.
Sure. And then if
Right.
you have an idea of when it was given to someone or bought, there's your window.
Yep.
And then you hit Getty and, with this Ortiz bat, I was able to match it by this little guy right here, which is a very nice characteristic.
Yeah.
Never mind this stuff is all matches up, but this was a
Was that your
match.
first identifier, and then you could
Kind of, and then I moved on from there and was able to match it to a home run in 2013. So
Very
you find your window and narrow down as much.
And it's
as you
exciting
can.
when you do, for sure.
Oh, it's the best.
That's a great point when you have these bats and you can pinpoint them by the labeling or the manufacturer date. Pre-manufacturer dates being on the knob of the bats, you had, for instance, these Louisville Sluggers with the MLB logo on the sweet spot of the barrel. That started in 1999,
99.
and then they moved it to the back of the barrel
And
the
then-
following year.
No,
Or
99,
one?
2000, and then in 2001, they filled in the little batter guy.
That's right.
And then,
they flipped it.
Then it moved to the back.
And Nomar kept using those throughout his entire
That's a
career.
lot of times you'll see no more Garcia Parabats that are later career, and people think they're 99,
Yeah.
2000 because the silhouette's on the front.
But
That's
he
just
wanted
how
them
he
on there.
ordered it.
Yeah.
Right, because it looks cool.
Yeah.
This Paul O'Neill bat, for example, was clearly in 1999 due to the MLB logo. So now you've got one season to essentially look for a match. I was fortunate enough to just find it on Getty.
And a World Series year. Which
A
is
World
great.
Series year, which is desirable, but this wood grain here is pretty significant or pretty unique. So I lucked out, found a shot at holding the bat. Then the other thing is the tape. I mean, you got the crisscross tape that runs the length of the handle, so that's another identifying point when trying to match it. You got the grain, the tape. Then you're going to look for ball marks, cleat marks, anything else. Knob markings. O'Neill wouldn't write anything on the knob of his bats, so there's nothing to really see there. But it really helped because I'm not personally going to spend hours upon hours looking for a Paul O'Neill photo match. It was the fact it was a 99. Okay, let me just breeze through 1 year, see if I get lucky.
Maybe 2000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it gets carried over. And same goes for this Biggio bat. We have a Craig Biggio 1999 Louisville Slugger. Same thing with the MLB logo. Now, what's interesting about Biggio on this bat is this bat doesn't have the model number branded on this bat, which typically means it was a promotional bat.
Promotional bat. So
That was shipped to Biggio and the Astros, so the Astros ordered it, and Craig would sign them and sell them through the team store or for charities or for whatever reason. So typically I would steer clear of these promo-issued bats, even though it has, perfect Craig Biggio characteristics with the spiral tape, the heavy tar, the number 7 written on the knob. But, again, found a photo match. Actually, a friend of mine originally owned this bat. And he's at bat against the Rockies, and the wood grain just matches up perfectly on the back of the
Beautiful.
And he was known to use these promo bats.
Right.
Like, this isn't a one-off. There's several out there that are photo match that, for whatever reason, he must have got batches of them and liked them. Because now the Louisville Slugger promo bats are not professional quality wood.
Right.
When you pick them up, they feel flimsy.
Right.
Back then, they were,
Yeah, this one, obviously, he liked the feel. The quality of the wood was
Yep.
good enough. Another indicator.
Used the hell out of it too.
Used it quite a bit. His bats would be so sticky, the equipment manager would wipe them down after the game so the tar didn't get all over all the other bats in the bag and whatnot. So when you look at the photo of Craig using this bat, the pine tar is actually much heavier in the game. And I was like, man, I wish he kept that tar on there. I mean, it
that's a
looked awesome.
Those guys never think about us, do they?
I know, when they're at bat facing a 95 mile per hour fastball. But cool bat, and I was able to get him to sign and inscribe it with the date that
That's
he used
awesome.
it, and he got a couple hits with it. But again, the photo match really makes it unique and adds some extra value. And back real quick on the promo point that Steve was touching on, another way to notice a promo bat is if there's a line, excuse me, under the 125.
On the Louisville bats, when they put 125 in the center brand, a lot of times you'll see a line under that. That's an indicator of a promo bat.
Right. So a lot of you young collectors out there, always look for that. When I'm buying that Griffey bat,
The
and
Star
those
and
guys-
Trout too, right?
Right. And then
Sorry.
yeah, so the 125, when I see a bat for sale on like a Craigslist or something or eBay, I'll look at that center brand. And a lot of times when the price is too good to be true,
Yeah, there's a reason.
There's an underline under the 125.
Generally, if the price is too good to be true,
there's
a
a
good
reason.
reason.
Right. And to Dan's point, on Old Hickory, they made an asterisk after Mike Trout's model number for bats that were issued to Mike for game use. Ones without the asterisk were issued to him for, I believe, spring training or for promo models to be signed. And that changed a couple years into his career. But this is a Mike Trout Old Hickory bat from the 2015 season. And this was a bat that sat on eBay for literally years, 3 years. I watched it sit there at a certain price. No one jumped on it and bought it. And then I was able to photo match it on Getty for a series against the Oakland A's, and he homered with it, which adds significant value to the bat with the photo match and the home run.
And where did you what matched on there? Like where did you? Do you remember? Was there a
With
certain
him,
spot?
it was actually the 27, so he wasn't very consistent writing his number on the knob.
That's helpful.
So he had the 27, and it was in small writing. He would write 27 in big numbers a lot of times. So I just was scrolling through looking for a small 27, and then there was a stain. There was a small stain mark on the knob too, which I picked up on. And then I ended up finding some photos where the pine tar, the tape, and I believe a couple of the ball marks, but everything lined up from the label down.
And again, like we were saying earlier, having multiple matches on the same bat is great.
And it's something that I probably casually tried to match for 3 years. You know, it was sitting there. I knew it was a legitimate Trout bat. It was overpriced at the asking price. So I would just kind of go back to the well, like you said, and try to find it. And then you did. Then you could justify the purchase price a little more, you know. And Dan, you mentioned earlier about the manufacturer date on the Ortiz bat, but talk about the Manny bat where you don't, just because the bat's branded a particular year, it might have been used, like Steve said, anytime after that, maybe not that same season.
This bat was made for Manny in 2003 for a playoff run, and he did not use it then, but he did use it in the regular season in 2004, and I was able to match it with this very easy smudge here and this mark here from Getty Images, and matched it to a home run. This is the one I got actually from John Tauby. And that was a very pleasant surprise to match someone like Manny to a home run during that kind of season. And I got it for a really good price because he didn't know.
You know. Well, and then again, knowing the player, someone like Manny would just carry over bats. Adrian Beltre is known for that too, where you'll see a bat manufactured in 2017 that was used in 2019. You know, they're just holding on to these bats. And so it's tougher to find because it's a larger window you're searching. But, you know, as bat collectors, you keep looking.
Nick, you had a good story about this Gwyn bat actually for matching.
Yeah, this was a pretty funny story, and one of the reasons why we all love the hobby. A bat that I owned for quite some time. This is a bat I found on Craigslist. You never know where you're going to find a bat. Actually, two of my favorite Tony Gwynn bats I've ever found or owned were on Craigslist finds. Bought the bat, really liked it. It was obviously a gamer that Tony used for quite a bit. And I would try to find a photo match of it. And again, there weren't many photos from this was the early 90s. And had no luck, and I would just go check every few months, just scrolling through photos, baseball cards, magazine covers, eBay photos, all over the place. And I happened to stumble across this Beckett magazine, which I've owned for years, from 1991, him and Fred McGriff here, and he's actually holding this bat. And what threw me off was the handle of this bat that he's holding is taped. So I never gave it any thought. I just knew it was a nice looking bat on the cover there. I always wanted to try to find it, and lo and behold, I had the bat in my closet for 5 years or so. But it's rare that you find a bat where the tape was removed like that, and the player kept using it. And I actually found some more photo matches later of him using the bat without the tape, and was able to pinpoint the dates. He used it in the beginning of the '91 season.
That's amazing.
He was on fire, getting 2-3 hits a game. It's cracked down here, and just a really neat bat. And it's got a unique feature here with this donut ring. The donut the Padres used then didn't have that rubber coating on it. It was just the metal donut. So this thing just chewed up the barrel here from obviously games and games worth of use. And so obviously a great find. And kind of along those lines was this Paul Molitor bat, another bat that I owned for a long time. Probably 15 years of owning this bat before I stumbled across the photo match. Again, was able to pinpoint when it was used, which is a really neat feeling. I think it's that feeling we all kind of strive to find when we're looking for these photo matches. You never know, because we all own these bats that we know when you hold it and look at it, you're like, this was Clemente,
never give up.
Rose. They use these bats in games. There has to be a photo.
You get that reassurance.
Right. There has to be a photo out there. So you check AP Images, different sites. There was a great story on the Pete Rose Mizuno bat that was corked that a few years ago. Remember, it was a Mizuno that was photo matched to a cover of a Beckett magazine, and the owner decided for some reason to X-ray the bat because
lo and behold,
because I think the barrel end was drilled or a different color, and it was corked. So there's not only was it corked, but you found a photograph of Rose using the bat. So he couldn't.
Wait! He cheated?
Right, but he couldn't lie that it was just a BP bat or goofing around the off season. There you are using it. So it really adds quite the premium when you could find this, and it's just a thrill in the hunt.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. It's fun, for sure.
We're collectors. We like to find some nice surprises, whether it was baseball cards back in the days or hunting for autographs. Now you buy a bat, you try to match it. I know guys that collect a specific player, they'll buy every single bat of that player, try to match it. If they can't, then they'll trade it or sell it, because it's worth the time you put into it.
Sure.
I think we all know collectors that spend a significant amount of time trying to match bats,
for sure,
resell them, and they can make a few dollars that way.
Now, people always ask, where do you find your matches? We mentioned Getty. Where else do people go?
AP Images.
I think for modern stuff now is the MLB.com, because every game is videotaped. So the internet is obviously the biggest source.
Yep.
Getty's usually my first go-to. AP.
Yes.
And sometimes just a Google search.
Yep.
I was going to say the Google searches. Baseball cards. There's a website called comc.com, which will have a photo of every baseball card produced for a player. And a little tip, typically the photographs used on a baseball card were from the prior season. Yep. So if you have a 99 bat, you search the 2000 Craig Biggio cards, and you could blow up the cards on there, front and back. And I actually have an upper deck card. This Biggio swinging this bat in the upper deck card. So search baseball cards the year following the year you think the bat was used.
Great.
eBay.
I did not know that.
eBay photos. You type in Tony Gwynn pictures, and there's actually a lot of photos that come up. Or slides is another good one, where people have undeveloped slides. Photographers will have them up there, and I know people that have bought slides, got them blown up, and found matches that way. So there are resources. You just gotta, again, it's a needle in the haystack.
Yeah,
really,
you put in the time.
You gotta put in the time. You gotta enjoy doing it. If you don't enjoy this like we do, people look at us like we're crazy. Like, why would you do that?
There's definitely a degree of nerddom going on. You have to be into it.
It's as nerdy as it gets. I don't know how many times I've been sitting on the couch with my wife, and I'm like, "Hey, look at this! Do you think this is a match?"
And she's like, "What? I'm trying to watch this cooking channel."
Right, but then she'll eventually cave. Like, well, I think that is. That's kind of cool, So definitely nerding out on the photo matching, but it's not going to change. It's the wave of the future for the collecting hobby, and again, you're always trying to differentiate your bats a little bit from the masses of the other examples out there in the hobby. Yep. And what about some of the companies that we know of? Have you guys ever sent anything to get photo matched? Or
I never have.
Yeah. I feel like I'm really good at it myself, so I'd rather just. And I have a lot of time because I usually.
What's that like?
Yeah, of course. Well, if I'm not on tour, I'm home doing nothing, and I have plenty of time to sit, and I do enjoy looking for the matches. So, what was the question?
If you've ever paid to have it
done.
done.
No, I haven't, and I don't think I would.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I typically try to do it on my own. There are companies out there, Resolution Photo Match, photomatch.com, PSA, that offer a service to photo match your bats. A lot of us do it on our own. I think some of the reasons to have it documented, or if you're ever going to sell, or I always think if something were to happen to me, if I got hit by a truck tomorrow and my wife finally want to get rid of all these bats, now it's documented, for the family, and they could obviously sell for a premium. But a lot of it is, us texting each other, emailing each other, hey, what do you think of this? There's forums, batbreak.com, Game Use Universe back in the day, where you just throw up a photo, say, hey guys, what do you think? And once you get 3-4 other collectors to kind of validate what you're thinking.
Yeah, it helps. Listen, more often than not, you find your match after hours and hours of, you're a little bleary-eyed and you're like, I need to make sure I'm not seeing things here.
You never find it the first minute, do you?
Weird. Oddly, no.
No.
2 a.m.
Nope.
Right.
Yeah.
And you start seeing what you want to see.
Yeah.
But it's great, and that's the beauty of the community, the collecting community, where I'm thrilled when one of these guys send me a find like that. You're genuinely happy for them, and it's cool to give some feedback for free. You're not charging anything, so it's really, again, I think we would all recommend networking as much as you can if you're thinking about getting in the hobby, because it's only going to be to your benefit to just bounce ideas and get some thoughts.
And listen, it's always great we all sort of have something. We have a player or an era or a brand that we have more knowledge about than other stuff. So if I was going to look for a David Ortiz bat, you're the first guy I'm going to call, because I'm not that well versed on what exactly to look for.
Sure.
So I mean, it's always,
and like you with Posada or O'Neill or whoever.
Yeah, it's always helps to talk to people that have an expertise in a certain lane.
Right. Yeah, and it's good to know who those guys are and what their expertise are. And that just comes with time and meeting more people. But
and know that most people are willing to help, because we do enjoy talking about this stuff.
I think generally most collectors enjoy just talking about this stuff. So I found it, most guys I've dealt with have been great.
Yeah, and there was, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you remember, there was a forum called Game Use Universe that we all used to use, and there was a thread on there that said post your photo matches, and I think that was probably all of our favorite threads.
Of course.
I could see a Mackie Sasser photo match bat from the Mets day, and I'm like, that's cool.
Absolutely.
It might not be the most expensive bat, but it's cool to see the finds.
100%.
So that's what photo matching is all about. Hopefully it clarified a little bit the benefits of it, what it is, and why it's so important in the hobby. And thanks for joining us.